Okay, everybody, it is me, Gregory Mannarino. It is Sunday, March 6th, 2022. This is my newest segment of Markets A Look Ahead, and it's going to be just lovely as usual. A lot of stuff going on, a bunch of things I want to cover here with you, but let's start off with this. How many of us actually knew that the cure for COVID was a war? Yes, it's gone. You don't hear about that anymore. No, because there's a new crisis, and there will be another crisis after this and another one after that. It's astonishing to me to witness this crisis to crisis. No. Prolonged crisis to prolonged crisis, and they're going to drag this out for as long as humanly possible, because remember, the longer they can drag any crisis that they create out, well, the more cash has to be thrown at it. And that's really the bottom line. I think you all know that. Anyway, people, before we look forward, I want to look back just a little bit here. So, no secret, this market has been, well, very volatile for this entire year. Last year, more record highs with regard to the S&P 500 than we've ever seen. This year, a lot of volatility as, there's all kinds of speculation as to what the Federal Reserve is going to do. Not this week, but next week, we are going to hear from public enemy number one. We already know what the Fed is going to do. I'm going to lay it out for you real quick. The Fed is going to raise rates. Again, not this week, next week. The market's going to love it. Watch how the market responds. Okay, we're going to get like a 25 basis point hike. And the market's just going to go, oh yeah. And that's the way it's going to play out. Any other way, I can't imagine. Anyway, with that said, so that's been rattling the markets. What's the Fed going to do? Because they're playing their game. They got this freak saying this. They got this freak saying that. And like I always tell you, the market is kind of retarded. And it wants to be reassured constantly, that everything is just going to be fine. And then, of course, we got this whole issue here, this troop buildup, which is now a war, that has been weighing on this market as well. We've seen the financial sector take a hit. Meanwhile, we've seen, defense contractors skyrocket. Commodities have gone completely nuts, parabolic, and we're not done. We'll talk more about that too. We've seen oil and gas producers, energy, all the things you would, I think, expect to see here happen. But there's a little caveat to this, and I want to cover that. As a matter of fact, let's do that now. So, what's going on? How are major financial institutions like the big banks, what are they doing right now? Well, it's kind of interesting. And I also think this is typical of these institutions. What they are doing now is buying what they are calling distressed assets because of the war. So let me ask you, where have you heard that before? Let's see. The housing meltdown. You remember how houses were distressed assets and it was all getting picked up by the Federal Reserve? So, that's what the investment banks are doing. JP Morgan, among them, is out here buying distressed assets around the world. Basically, they're looking to get things on the cheap. And I don't think that should surprise anyone. That's how these institutions operate. Anyway, so with that in mind, I was writing a few things down here this morning. Let's cover some of that here. But, the biggest one I wanted to talk about was distressed assets. It's absolutely insane. But what else would you expect? Now, this week we're going to get a bunch of economic reports and a big one. One big one is the inflation report. And look, I'm laughing. I don't know why I laugh at these things sometimes. Maybe I'm a little not well. I think you all know that. But this is going to be abysmal. And, again, what else would you expect? The lies, the propaganda, the distractions, everything in place here. And the fact of the matter is people are being destroyed by design. They're being slaughtered by design. They're being eliminated by design. And I would expect that this inflation report is going to come in way worse than even the rocket scientist economists expect. Of course, that's how it's going to go. And, we're going to hear the same thing, the usual nonsense dog shit. Oh, yeah, we're really concerned. I'm talking about the Fed. We're really, really, really concerned about inflation, and we're going to do something about it. Then we're going to hear from the retard president. Oh, yeah, he's going to do something about it, too. No, they're all on the same page. You all know that. And I've been explaining to you forever that the goal here of central banks is to continue to inflate. They're not going to stop. I don't care what they tell you, what they're saying. They're going to do the polar opposite. They're going to continue to inflate. They're going to look for more reasons to do it. People, like I have explained to you, the war machine or actual war itself generates more cash, more money for corporations than any other endeavor in humankind. There's nothing greater than that with regard to money creation, money printing, fueling the machine here. You understand what's going on. Hundreds of billions of dollars are being thrown at this. We don't have it. Nations around the world don't have it. It's all being borrowed from central banks who are giddy off of this. You see, look, there's always winners and losers. Central banks are in full control of the world right now. They have a stranglehold on everyone, nations. They run it all. This has been their goal since their inception, to be the government of the world, to be the lender and buyer of last resort. I've explained this to you for I don't know how freaking long. And of course you would expect to see wars, the propagation of wars, this new Cold War that will come out of this, these arms deals that are flying everywhere. Just do your own research. Arms deals. Look at what's going on under people's noses, right in their face, but no one's talking about it. Everyone's being distracted. Oh yeah, oh yeah. But that's part of the mechanism here. That's just the way it's going to keep on going until, everyone is put in their place. Look, what is this really about? What is this really about? Well, it's always the same. It's about control. It's about an elimination of people in a real sense here. Less people, easier to control. So just be ready for what's coming. If you think you've seen it all, if you think this is it, you haven't seen anything yet. I don't know how to put that to you. Anyway, look, in response to what's happening here, if we realize, you and me, let's just talk about the banks. Okay, I told all of you, personally, me, I am down about 11% with regard to my bank holdings right now. 11%. Big freaking deal. That's nothing, okay? These are not trades. These are long-term holds. They all pay a nice fat dividend. Meanwhile, I'm trading around these things. I've been selling puts. You all know this, okay? My Lions are probably doing the same thing. Either you're setting up credit spreads or you're selling puts onto the market. So you're actually probably showing a profit, okay? But as core holdings, I am down 11% on the banks. Okay, with regard to oil and gas companies, which I recommended to all of you, they're taking off. We're making all kinds of money here. If you invested in energy or the commodities ETF I told you about, there's a lot more cash to be made here. Defense contractors, I'm not buying them. You know that. You know why I'm not buying them. However, they've been doing phenomenal, and there's a lot more there as well. So look, we got this covered. With regard to the hyperinflating debt bubble, people, look, I can't imagine another group of people besides you and I that are in the right spots here. Physical gold, physical silver, and yes, in my view, cryptocurrencies, you know why. That's pretty much where we stand. So let's just recap what's happening. Clearly, there's a war going on here, and all kinds of cash is being thrown at it. And the real reason behind it is so central banks can inflate. If we realize that central banks are going to continue to inflate beyond your wildest dreams, what does that mean for you personally? You're already seeing commodity prices take off, surging out of control. Energy is going to get a lot worse. We are marching straight into an energy crisis. We are marching straight into a food crisis. I want you to be ready for these things because they're coming. Okay, more crises, crisis. And, the other reason why it's crisis, because you have to stand behind it. If you, as an individual, do not stand behind the crisis, well, then you're not a patriot. You don't care what's going on around the world. See, all this gives governments, the puppet governments, a blank check, like our retard president. Oh yeah, we're going to be throwing another 10 billion at the Ukraine, which is going to balloon to 32.5 billion, and that's just the beginning here. It's out of control, but at the same time, they are in control. Nothing you are seeing here is by accident at all. But like I say to you, look, when you see a situation like this, it just there's opportunity, for those of us that know how to take advantage of it. And it's just so simple. We're not going to change anything. We're not going to deviate. As I have explained to you, I want you to keep your eye on the debt market. I watch it every day for you. I tell you what's going on here. There is no instability at all in the debt market. It's because the debt bubble is being fueled, especially by this new war, arms deals, and everything else that's going on. So the debt market remains stable for now. Okay, we do not have to worry at all about a dropping 10-year yield. It's the spike that's going to let us know, hey, this is the big one. So, if you want to look at what banks are doing here, okay, banks are out there buying distressed assets. What does this tell you? What are they setting themselves up for? In my view, banks are going much higher. You know that. And in my view, they are on sale. They have been on sale. I've been adding to positions. And there's so many people here, they just don't know how to recognize opportunity. They look at the banks. Oh, banks are down 8%, 11, 10%. Oh, that's just a terrible thing. Really? I gotta laugh. I got to laugh. If they were 11 to 12% higher, they'd be like, oh, stay away from the banks. But they're lower, stay away from the banks. Duh! Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Okay, but this is people, again, they're garbage men. They're cooks and chefs and policemen and firemen and whoever they may be. They don't understand the market. They don't realize that there are times where the market does go on sale. And that's why people like me, always come out ahead in the long run because we know how to recognize opportunity. And then these same people sit back and they go, oh, what did I do? I wish I would have got in when I could have. But now they're priced too high, so now I won't buy them. Make it up. Make any of this stuff up. I dare you. You can't do it. Anyway, look, that's the story right now, people. Banks buying distressed assets. Imagine Greg Mannarino's surprise. I think the number one bank that is doing this, if I had to speculate, well, it's going to be the Wall Street super bank, JP Morgan. They are known. I think they're notorious for doing things like this. Goldman Sachs would be another one. I think these two banks, Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan, are the two banks that really, really, really know how to play this game when there is an engineered global crisis like we are seeing right now. It just gives them opportunity to buy assets. And that's exactly what's going on here. I'll tell you something else the banks are doing. They're buying commodities like they're going out of style, okay? The investment banks, they are loading up on commodities. That means you should too. And if you want to, PDBC, again, that's the ETF I've been explaining that people should look at over the past several weeks. It has gone freaking crazy. It's probably going to go a lot higher here. And again, you know what to look at. Energy produces energy itself. There's a lot of ways to take advantage of these things here, but the number one way is to understand what's really going on. It's the debt bubble. It's being fueled. It's being fueled like we've never seen before. I have explained to you, as a matter of fact, one of my top trends for 22 was we were going to see lower for longer, and we are going to. Despite the fact that the Fed is going to raise rates a meaningless 25 basis points, that's my best guess, they're going to continue to inflate. They're going to continue to buy assets. They're going to continue to buy mortgage-backed securities, inflating housing prices a lot worse than they are. You know what's going on better than anybody else, period, if you follow this blog. And I think you and I, what we should be doing is mimicking what the investment banks are doing. Again, they're buying commodities, they're buying energy, they're buying distressed assets as well. And I think there's opportunity here for us all. All right, look, that's it. Kind of a long video. Let me know what you think about all this. And, well, I'll see all of you tomorrow morning. I love you. Have a super great, well, rest of your weekend.